All right, we just got back to the crib. We are about to film a podcast with a very special guest, and I think he actually just pulled up. So let's go take a look and see.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick Terrio, and today I have an exciting new video for you guys. Today I have the one and only CT the Disruptor on as a guest speaker for you guys today, jamming out on a few controversial things going on in the community right now. So with that being said, let's dive into the video.
Two-building co-op in '78 for $30,000.
Okay. Now Chelsea, that's by Manhattan?
It's in Manhattan, yeah. So it's like south of Times Square, above Wall Street. So it's in between like the very rough, like, so it's in between Central Park and like the financial district.
Okay.
So it's like Chelsea, there's Meatpacking District, there's Tribeca and stuff like that. But it's Flatiron Building and all of that is like right north of all of that. I don't know, man.
Nice.
I haven't been to New York. Like, I've been there like 3 times and I got suckered into buying the spot. But like her aunt is, as she would say, a Jew of a certain age. And so they moved to Florida. Might as well keep the property in the family. My wife learned how to cook in that kitchen when she was like 8, 9, 10, you know, cooking Hanukkah and Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner.
Some historic value to it.
Yeah, so it was funny. I was talking with Max, you know, Marketing Max, the newsletter dude. Good guy. Friends with Dylan Ander and Philip Rivers and that whole crew. I was talking with him yesterday, and he's like, man, it went 50x in the last 40 years. So you're telling me in 2060 that place will be worth like 100? And I'm like, well, shit, I guess. Not that I'll need that money then, but you know, whatever. Yeah, dude. So what brings you out to LA?
More so just want to come to LA.
All right.
There was literally like we filmed content all weekend, but for the most part, I haven't been in 2 years.
Okay.
So
yeah,
haven't been in 2 years. So I was like, hey, I really want to go. Last time I went to Santa Monica. Santa Monica's phenomenal. I love Santa Monica.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I want a completely different vibe this time. So I'm
It's a
thinking
different vibe, yeah.
Hollywood Hills, let's get a mansion, let's go rent some cars.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Just having fun.
I saw you with the vet.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah, we rent, actually it was vet, that's my personal at home.
Okay.
But we rented 2 Lambos yesterday.
Oh, okay. That was, I saw you missed the vet. Got it. So you went through the Lambos. Okay.
Yeah, so Lambos were fun. It was fun, but trying to learn a whole new vehicle in a city with like you never been in was a challenge.
Oh, potholes, homeless people, things coming fly. Yeah, I get it.
That
sounds like having fun
different.
though.
That was something different though, because when I went to Santa Monica like 2 years ago, the homeless was really bad.
Yeah.
But I feel like it actually cleaned up a lot since I've been here.
No, it's funny. My family that's visited has said the same thing, and I think it's just a change in leadership, and I think COVID had a big part to do with things, and just who knows. But yeah, I mean, everywhere it's a lot cleaner than it used to be, which is nice.
It's awesome. It's good to see. It's a beautiful city. It's different. I'm a very big Miami guy.
Yeah.
Miami still has my heart and soul and everything.
Of course, man. It's a vibe, dude.
It's weird because they're both beach cities. They're both very similar cities in terms of like the attitude of people.
Yeah.
But like you still get a whole new experience at the same time.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. My buddy John Snow, he's a Miami guy.
Snow agency, right?
Yeah. He's a Miami guy. And he's like, man, I live where I would go to vacation. Like, it's beautiful. It's interesting. I lived in Florida for like 10 years, and there's definitely like, what I like about LA is you have that, but then like you can drive 30 minutes to a different like part of the planet, if that makes sense. Like,
1 hour, 1 hour up north, you're snowboarding.
Oh, yeah.
1 hour to the left, you're going to the beach.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, my birthday 2 years ago, I woke up, walked my dogs in my shorts in my neighborhood. I live about 15 minutes east of here. And then got in my car, drove 45 minutes, went snowboarding all day. And I could see the desert from the mountaintop. Snowboarding.
That's a surreal experience.
Dude, I swear to God, it's so surreal. And then I came home and we went to the beach for a barbecue on the beach, like dinner side, and like, so it was like you saw people surfing at night, snowboarding during the day, walking my dogs in my shorts in the morning, like just no other place. The only place we don't have is 2 places. One, we don't have anything tropical. The water here is cold as shit.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard that from a lot of people.
And no rainforest. Other than that, we got big ass rocks, snow, beaches, hills, flatlands. We got all that stuff, which is nice. You have access. Rainforest. Not really. But hey, look, you know, we don't have it. Just being honest, you know what I'm saying? Just being honest, we don't have it here. But like being in Florida, I guess swamp too. Not much
We have
of
a lot of
swampland.
swamp in Louisiana where I'm from.
Yeah, a lot of swamp in
A
Louisiana.
lot of swamp, a lot of heat. It's hot year round.
Oh yeah, man. I
Our
remember.
winter's like 70 degrees.
Oh yeah, I remember touring through Louisiana and like something I remember in Louisiana that I've never seen anywhere else in the United States is like 20 miles of highway where it's just on pontoons above a swamp.
Yep.
And there's just like no exit and it's just parish to parish to parish. And all you see is the top of mangroves or whatever, and then it's just swamp below, but there's no land. But you're also not at sea. It's this very weird,
Yeah,
like
it's a weird vibe right there.
yeah, but it's the only place in the world I've ever seen it, and it was nice. It was a different vibe. I remember going through that. I remember last time I went there. I think last time I was in Louisiana, I was doing a gig in Shreveport, and driving from Tallahassee to Shreveport was a trip. That's always a fun drive.
Yeah, that's a. Whew. Yeah, Shreveport's a very boring drive. If you're driving from north to south,
Yeah.
it's nothing but just like highway and trees for miles at a time.
Yeah, and like, very. There's no roadside attractions. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like going up 95 where you hit like Pedro's south of the border and all that. You ever go to Pedro's?
Oh,
Oh man,
no.
there's this thing at the border between North and South Carolina called Pedro's south of the border,
Okay.
and they used to have billboards up and down 95 all the way up to like Jersey, and they eventually had to cover them up because as time went on, they proved to be like mildly or very offensively racist. But all the billboards were like, had this guy in the corner asleep with the sombrero off in the corner. And then they were all just basically, all the billboards were aimed at kids. To like, hey, shout at your parents. Pedro's is only 60 miles away. If you keep screaming, they'll stop. Like, it was, all the billboards are set up so that the kids in your car would go ape shit until you pulled over at this spot. And you could see it from about 10 miles away because they had a big giant thing. It was like a sombrero or whatever. They had they have little shops and they have a mini golf and a little hotel and some campgrounds and stuff. But I remember that was a big fun. I don't know. If you're a roadside attraction kind of guy.
Reminds me a lot of Buc-ee's.
Oh yeah. Oh
in
yeah.
Texas, if you ever went to Buc-ee's.
Oh, I've been to a Buc-ee's. Oh, I know about Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, my favorite is like the white chocolate Buc-ee's, the one that's like that. Those are the best. Yeah. If I had worn my Crocs, I got a Buc-ee's like.
Oh, one of those.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I got one, man. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Nice.
Buc-ee's are awesome. I got a buddy from San Antonio that turned me on to Buc-ee's.
It's crazy that you'll drive through a city and like one of the attractions is a gas station.
But dude, like, it sounds crazy until you've been to one. And then you're like, oh yeah, of course. This is the coolest thing ever. It's like a Target inside of a gas station.
What's
Like-
even crazier is like a Buc-ee's manager will easily make like 6 figures a year.
Oh, I don't doubt it. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like people that work at a gas station making like 80 grand a year. That's the Buc-ee's.
Yeah. Buc-ee's is that's incredible, man. Like, I think they've got them now. I think they got one, I think, in Daytona now.
Okay.
I was down in Florida a while ago, but yeah, I think that's now the most East Coast, the most east the Buc-ee's are. And it is, people come from Orlando, they come down from like Gainesville, like they drive up from maybe not Miami, not Fort Lauderdale, but it's an attraction, and it's like a small Buc-ee's. It's only like 10 times the size of a normal gas station.
I think my favorite thing about Buc-ee's is, I know you said the Pedros and everything like that. When you're driving through the city and, kind of transitioning more towards what we specialize in, marketing and advertising and everything like that, Buc-ee's is phenomenal with, like, saying exactly what you want to hear. Like, hey, like, 5 miles, you can pee in a clean bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just very straightforward, direct messaging of exactly what you want to hear. Clean toilets, things like that.
Yeah, and the corn nuggets and the well, that's a good point though. The bathrooms, yeah, they're always the cleanest things ever. It's like the exact opposite of like a Flying J's. Yeah. But yeah, Buc-ee's is awesome. My buddy got married in Texas, and we got him a whole bunch of Buc-ee's swag for.
I thought you were about to say he got married.
No, he did not get married at
I can
Buc-ee's.
see that happening right
I mean,
now.
I'm sure people do. I mean, it is.
I'm sure someone's been proposed to.
Of course. Oh, 100%. I'll bet you that happens at least, yeah. It's got to happen at least once a year. Someone's getting married. Someone's getting at least proposed to at a Buc-ee's. Yeah.
That's the cool thing about like Buc-ee's, for example. It's like from a consumer perspective, all they did was listen to what people hate about other gas stations and literally just did, all right, we're going to make a gas station with none of those problems. We're going to add more fuel pumps so you do not have to wait for anyone.
Yep.
We're going to make the bathrooms as clean as possible.
Yeah, you can eat off the floor at the Buc-ee's.
And then we're going to offer everything in there that they could possibly need for their road trip.
Oh, yeah.
Boom. That's
it.
The
best beef jerky, the best chocolate bars. Like, they got fountain drinks all over the place.
Yeah, beef jerky is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. And they like cut it off the thing. They're prepping for it right there. Like, it's a decent deli. It's the best.
Yeah, that roast beef sandwiches, phenomenal.
100%. It's like, you can go to Hardee's or you can go to a Buc-ee's. I'll go to the Buc-ee's. Things are great. Roast beef with the with the cheese.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Last time I went, I got a spicy chicken sandwich.
Oh yeah, dude.
And they had a Chick-fil-A not too far away from it, and I was like, I know exactly who they went after with that one. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, dude. Those are good things. So where are you going to dinner tonight?
Nobu.
Okay.
Nobu. Okay. And I was actually upset because I thought we booked the. I didn't realize there was 2 Nobus.
Oh yeah, there's 2. Yeah.
There's Malibu Nobu and there's Los Angeles Nobu. So we're going to Los Angeles one. And I spent like an hour on the phone earlier with the Malibu one, like, hey, can we please get a reservation tonight? They're like, no. We have like a waiting list of people just trying to get a reservation for tonight.
Oh, yeah. Where else have you been in town?
Let's see. We went to Hollywood Boulevard. We went to Rodeo Drive today. Santa Monica today as well. We went to Santa Monica last night as well. Santa Monica has some of the best, I would say, bars and clubs.
Sure, that makes sense.
In LA. You know, not like the hardcore stuff, but like just some pretty good like little dive bars.
Oh, it's a great place to go spend time. I mean, that's the economy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and then I think that's probably the main things right there.
All
so,
right.
yeah.
You're doing a Hollywood Hills trip. That makes sense. You're hitting all the nice joints to hit. You're not doing the. I didn't hear any car wash parking lot taco switch. Next time
Is that something that you recommend?
Oh, dude, if you got that, I don't trust a taco spot here in LA. There's 3 things that will make me trust it. 1, it's got to have a pineapple on top of the spit. Otherwise, just keep going. 2, if there is a line and it's in the parking lot of a car wash.
Okay.
Guaranteed that it's going to be good.
Phenomenal spot.
Yeah, phenomenal spot. And 3rd one, I'm suspect if English is the first language on the menu.
Yeah.
But I will go up 100% gringo as hell. Just be like, look, I want chicken, pork, and a steak. And I'll try to get through it all, but like those are always the best. And then you can get it's like an LA style dog thing. They got the hot dogs wrapped in bacon outside on the street.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's like an LA dog kind of deal, but especially out in Hollywood, or a lot of times you see them at like outside of clubs or venues. And what I love is, say you leave like Dodger Stadium, or you're going to a concert, or you're coming out of the club. The further away from the front door you get, the cheaper the hot dogs get. They're like $20 up front, then they're like 10, then across the street they're like 5, and you can just keep walking. But they got they're just those are top notch good stuff. But you know that's a different LA vibe. You can get like 100 different vibes in LA. Which is nice.
That's also makes the city special.
Yeah,
you can find your niche, and if you get tired of that one, there's another one out there.
Yeah,
it's not just one vibe all around.
Yeah, and I think it's one thing that I like. I was talking to some buddies, and my buddy Chase, who's at Heat Map now, and we're all in this fantasy football league together, and we were talking about it, and like New York's got an energy, and Paris has an energy, and London and all this, and LA's got like access is the thing. Like you can get to anywhere. And like I go to the grocery store, there'll be a guy begging outside of it, and then also a millionaire like movie star like parking his car, and like there's just all sorts, like everybody's completely intermingled. Whereas like New York is more like gate kept, but there's an energy that is like buzzing off of the street. Miami is just, I mean, I don't have to tell you, just Miami's a whole other vibe.
Miami, you feel like you're in a different country.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to say it from there.
And it's a beautiful thing, though. It's I've been to Miami more than a few times. I remember, I think the last time I went to Miami, I ended up on a beach at Ultra.
Okay.
By a tent that was being propped up because it was hooked up to a hose, trying to lower my heart rate for about 2.5 hours. It was a good time. I found myself at the front of a jungle tent.
Wow.
With my face melting for about 4 or 5 hours, and I had a good time. I walked away a happy guy.
That sounds like a fun.
Pretty sure I lost about 15 pounds that day. Good times.
So what? You're kind of shifting gears a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
What's been going on with you, man? I know we did a podcast probably about a year ago now.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I know pretty much everyone that watches our stuff already knows who each other are.
Yeah.
So what's going on? What's been going on with your business? What you been focusing on?
Yeah.
I know you've been growing your school.
Yeah.
And then also too, I know you have your agency too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
how's that been treated?
It's been good. I really been looking at Disruptor Enterprises as a whole.
Okay.
As really 3 different paths. And my focus this last bit is like, I'm going to try to raise the net revenue of each one to a more or less even level. So for instance, let's say, let me get 30K take home from all 3. That's $1 million a year. That's baseline for the month, for instance. And so there is the brand builder agency stuff that we have. And in there, I only take in 4 or 5 brands at a time. And what we're doing with those are, just trying to scale up businesses. Instead of being an ad agency where our business model would be spend as much of your money as possible and take a commission on it, we're taking deals where it has far more to do with like the growth of the business. And for instance, like one deal might look like we'll do a baseline and then we'll take some, if you're going to say you're going to do, say $1 million a year or $1 million a month, whatever it happens to be. And let's say you get to, we'll give you like 5 or 10% wiggle room. But let's say it's 10% wiggle room and you're going to do $1 million. If you get to $1.5 million, then we'll take a small piece of that extra, whatever $1.1 million to $1.5 million. Yep. We'll take a little piece of that until it becomes so exorbitantly expensive that we transition that into more of an ownership. And so the idea is basically we come in as a performance and growth team and ultimately earn equity in businesses. And it's sort of like my attempt of making like a Shark Tank deal where we don't have to keep money out of pocket. Does that make sense? Okay. So we're getting little pieces of a lot of growing things. And
now are you getting people are coming in regular flat fee on a monthly basis, or is it pretty much just structured as, hey, equity deal?
So it'll mature into that. So let's give it, for instance, we have a brand that came in, skincare business, primarily Amazon, trying to get into Facebook ads and Shopify and all that stuff. Tale as old as time these days. And they were really struggling. Like they're trying to get their CAC below like $40, and on Amazon their ACoS was like $5. They were getting it down to 20%. So their ROAS is basically 5. They were basically paying like $20 to acquire a customer, $15-20. And we were trying to get their Facebook going, or they were talking to us, and they were saying, well, it costs us like $200, $300 to get a sale. And we started to look at like the omni-channel lift and focusing on where Facebook ads was generating a halo on Amazon and all of that. Long story short, this year we basically doubled their ad budget, or for the last 90 months, or last 90 days, we basically doubled their ad budget every month. And I think last month in February, their Facebook cost per acquisition was like $130, which for them was an abject failure until they realized that they'd also quadrupled revenue and they're coming in at a $30 cost per acquisition, baking and all the other things. And we're getting to the point where it will become a liability on the balance sheet to continue to work with us, where it's cash out at the front end of the business. Yep. And so at that point, we can start to have a conversation of saying like, hey, why don't we transition some of this money into a vesting equity deal? So we can work together and you can protect that cash flow and put it into the growth of the business. And so if we can also manage those relationships for you and figure that stuff out and try to work on it, then we're getting that value. And then part of those deals are also something I've done for a long time is if I take equity, what I don't want is to wait until the exit.
That's what I was also about to say next. It's like, when do you get paid?
Yeah, so we'll get an ongoing thing. Let's just use simple numbers that aren't real for the purpose of this conversation. Let's say it's $10,000 a month. And when it gets to $15,000 or $20,000 a month, we're like, wow, this is money out of your pocket every single day. Let's put some of this money back into additional vendors or cash flow or inventory or something like that. Like that's an extra. It's a piece. Like all of it matters. And if we know that every dollar you give to us is $3 you're not making in 6 months, like, hey, let's go make more money. So what if instead of every $5-10 a month, it's like 1 or 2%, and we can start to work on that based on the current valuation of the business. Yeah. After a 6 or 12 month vesting period, we can sell some of that back to you. Mm-hmm. So all the vested equity has this maturation rate. And the people we've worked with so far have been really receptive to the idea of saying, what you're going to do is basically work for a fee and then take a lower price as we grow to build me up to the point where we're really big, and then you'll sell me back my equity so I can go find investors. Nobody's unhappy about basically being able to buy back their equity before they go and raise capital. And then we also, have relationships to help them raise capital. I'm not taking anything on that.
Yeah. So to put that in like simpler terms for people, so you start off at a flat fee. Let's just say $5K a month.
Sure.
Hypothetically speaking. $5K a month. Then all of a sudden, hey, now you're starting to get paid out maybe $10K, $15K because you're on like a small performance incentive on top of that.
Yeah, we're taking a piece of the performance above and beyond projection.
Yeah, correct. And then now from there, you're like, hey, instead of paying me 10, 15K a month, let's go back to 5K or maybe a little bit less, and you take that capital and go and reinvest in your business to help you grow faster.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we're doing is saying, we'll become investors.
Yeah.
Is the way we look at it.
And the money that you're investing into that business is your fee each month.
It's the fee each month, and we get that back in equity.
Yeah.
And then we'll say, like, hey, 6 months, a year down the road, depending on whatever we're going to go as the marketing rate, we're willing to take the gamble of saying, let's take a lower fee, and in the future, we'll just take the equity on it. So now we're even more motivated.
Now, do you have a specific day you're like, all right, I don't know, let's just say 6 months down the road, okay, hey, I need to get paid, I'm
so far,
put the money into something for a personal investment or something like that. I need to get paid from this particular client. Do you have a moment where it's just like, all right, hey, I've built up maybe $100,000 with you, for example.
Sure.
I want $50,000 right now.
Yeah.
How does that conversation look like?
Well, that conversation basically comes to the point of there's a vesting period, and at the end of that vesting period, we have the option to exercise. And so far, we've only had to do it like once. And that wasn't because we really needed the money. Yeah. That was because they wanted to go get equity. They wanted to go get investments. And if they wanted to go get investment, well, the easiest thing we can do is sell you, to be fair, if we're like, to your point, say it's $100K. Let me buy my why don't you give me my $100K back, and you can go take that equity and sell it to somebody else for $200,000 on a multiple on your business.
Okay. So
well, now you as the owner are like, well, shit, it cost me $100K to get 200. I'll do that all day.
Yeah, so like when you build up that equity in that business, you have a percentage of ownership in a way.
Sure.
So they want to see a sole owner from an investor.
Sure.
So that's why they sell you back.
Yeah, and I'm not getting it at the multiple. I'm getting it at the current rate.
Yeah.
So now as the business owner, you're like, holy shit, I'll give you 100, I get 200 back. Yeah. Done deal. So far, nobody's ever had a problem with it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so that's a great deal. And so let's say, for instance, that's 1/3 of things. My take home on that, for instance, might be 30. And then I've got the Disruptor School, which is, I'm transitioning it more and more into an e-com business with master classes. We got the monthly membership stuff, which I've kind of put on. I've stopped accepting people to come in. I know you've got coaching stuff too, but it got to the point of, I think I have 101 students there. I can't handle 101 students. And it got
to the hundreds, the breaking point.
Yeah.
That was the breaking point for me, was the 100.
And it was like, you know what? I'm at capacity. And I'm at a place where, as my wife put it, and especially as I have a newborn, the more money I make isn't going to buy me back more time with my family. And if there's a certain nut I need to hit, and I'm doing in excess of that, at one point it was $500 a month, and that price went up, I'm okay. And so that side of the business, between the subscription, membership, tuition, masterclasses, ebooks, information product type stuff, that's also trying to hit that. For instance, in this example, 30K. And then I have the MBA program, which I have
your Disruptor School is more of like your monthly mentoring.
Monthly mentoring,
and the MBA program
is the lifetime access, high ticket stuff. And then it's monthly mentoring, and then also e-commerce on just like ebooks and masterclasses and courses, little things like that.
Got it.
And the MBA program is like, you get everything, and it's one-time price, no reoccurring. But I have a team that's job is to basically grab leads, set, close, and we worked out a commission structure where the more sales they get in a week, the higher the commission percentage. So let's say it's 10K, and if they get one sale, it's 10%. If they get 2 sales, it's 15. If they get 3 sales, they get 20%. And so they're incentivized to get a higher volume of sales faster and faster. And ultimately, on my part, it's more or less scalable. It's very scalable because it's not any more of my time.
Yeah.
So there's an entire business of those people coming in, which is a lesson I learned from John, from the teeth whitening people, and what he did when I was working with Pilot House and some other agencies. I saw the Snow deal come across, where what he did was basically, instead of getting affiliate marketers who maybe work for him, he hired ad agencies, paid him a flat fee, and said, you can't run traffic to my site, you can't run my lowest cost offer, and you can't run branded search. Your job is to sell anything above and beyond base offer. and to make it work for itself. And everybody had a market. So Pilot House had Canada, other people had the UK. I saw the UK deal, the Canada deal, the Germany deal, and the Australia deal all in about 3 months. And I was like, I figured out what he's doing. And then
So he hired multiple different ad agencies and then obviously gave them a couple limitations to develop their own stuff. And then from there, he had them in each different geolocations also too. So that way they can't really all compete for you.
There's no commingling. Yeah. And they can't buy branded search and they can't sell the lowest cost product. So you know who runs branded search? He does. You want the lowest price item? He sells it. And so he has basically top of funnel affiliate marketers working around the world on a for-profit basis.
And then, so in that terms right there, the ad agencies, he was paying a monthly fee?
Yeah. Let's
Okay,
say Pilot House was getting $5K plus 10% ad spend.
Got it.
Out of that, they had to pay off. Their profit margins had to pay off their cost. And so he's basically hiring people at a profit around the world. And they're running buy two, get one frees and special bundles to their own landing pages, doing all the dev, all the creative, all the work themselves. And what he did, which I thought was brilliant, and what I've been doing, basically ripping him off, is saying, let me give really entrepreneurial people a product of zero cost of good. All they have to do is market it at a profit. I'm paying all the operational cost. I have all the back end. I'm going to do all the maintenance and customer service. All you need to do is bring in customers where at the end of the day, you pay me a bigger check than I pay you.
So in that perspective right there, are you looking for people to like appointment setters? Are you
Sure.
looking for people like salespeople? Are you looking for other people just to run ads to that product right there?
Yeah,
or
so
is it all of them?
I mean, it's kind of all of it. And basically what I'm doing for most folks is this. I have my internal team that is doing the closing. And so everybody I'm bringing on, their job basically, they can't run branded. They cannot pixel my site. They cannot run ads from my account. I have the closer. You can get paid on literally anything else. You can take any of my products, you can bundle them up and make your own value ladders and journeys and sell those info products and ebooks, courses, masterclass, whatever. If that's what it takes to pay for your ad spend, like I've got one guy that took multiple ebooks around the one campaign, built out a one campaign blueprint course. Nice. And I get so many people like, I took your course. And I'm like, you took this guy's course that he's using to pay his ad spend for lead gen to get setters to the closers.
Yeah.
And so he's getting all his operational costs and ad spend is basically off of a product with zero overhead.
Wow.
Selling my info product, doing lead gen for me to ultimately get him a percentage of the commission of the high ticket sales. And so those three things together is sort of the different pillars of stuff. And then I'm putting some money into some businesses here and there, and
nice.
I'm doing sort of like buying a house here and getting an apartment in New York. Those kind of fun things, but.
No, those are more for like personal fun.
Yeah, that's all personal stuff.
It's not like you're like, hey, I'm starting Airbnb, I'm investing into stuff.
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
I don't have time for all of that. Like the idea with this is basically with the brand grower stuff. I just get to solve. I like to think of it as, you ever watch House?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay,
not like a lot, but
I'm House. I got a team that does great work. The team comes to me and I kind of manage at a distance. They all throw stuff out. I problem solve. I got people that are really good at different things. And it's people I've worked with for a long time. You know, some of my best students from the MBA program, former business partners of mine, and my old boss actually, 310 Nutrition and My Life. And he worked at Guthrie Wenker and built up DeBooks and a bunch of other businesses. And so he's working on ops, somebody else is working on ads, and I just basically kind of work the middle, which is great. And I show up on all the calls. There's no like success team. You never get passed off to the 23-year-old kid that doesn't know if media buying is what he wants to do and has never run a business. Every single day you're talking, every single time I hop on a call with any of the people in Disruptor in the brand growth, they're talking to the people that are hands-on, and I'm on every one of those calls, but ultimately it's a couple hours a week that I have to designate to these projects, and they're effectively hiring like grade A C-suite to come in, and our job is to make it so that we are a value add to the balance sheet. And if we are, it's impossible to like look at it as an unhappy thing. We're not an ad agency competing for attribution because I don't care. Like my whole thing is like, did you make more money than you thought you were? Yeah. Did that fee that you pay us get covered in spades with the added value? If so, you're never going to fire us, and we're going to train you how to do everything that we do, because the actual day-to-day work that we do is of very little value. Like media buying has gotten to the point where if you worked at Pizza Hut for 2 weeks, you can be a chef. I think being a great Facebook media buyer takes about the same level of of dedication. Like the actual execution of the platform. Yeah. Knowing what to do above and beyond that takes far more work.
If you have and I think that's where like a lot of people still haven't fully developed of that like separation between the two. You know, they think of media buying, they think of everything, creating the creatives, creating the ads. And it's like, no, media buying is literally just pushing buttons.
Yeah.
I've trained up 2 media buyers now, and like the first one took me almost a year, but that was like back in 2020.
Sure.
The second one I trained up fully in like 3 weeks.
There you
managing accounts on a couple $100,000.
Yeah.
Like if you have all the SOPs in the place, phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, it's literally just button pushing. That is it.
Yeah. And the way I like to say it is like being a media buyer is part of a performance marketer's job. And being a performance marketer is part of a growth marketer's job. And like those all have different various stages. So like you can be a chef at a McDonald's or a Pizza Hut. You can level up to being like a line cook or the guy running the kitchen at like a decent restaurant. Or you can be the guy that's owning multiple restaurants. Those are all different stages of the game. And men and women throughout all of that might find their right fit. But yeah, so like the point of that is in our relation, especially because I teach is where I come from. In our relationships with brands, like my ultimate goal is to let the brand do, like, let me show you how easy this is, and then get some kid, like I working with one where it's like, let's just get your son when he graduates college, let's come on in. Like, I wish I could work with Jason Panzer, but like his kid's working at Sharma, he's just crushing it. It's like, that's the kid you want. That's the person you want to come in and do this stuff, because like they're fresh, they've never been taught how to do it the wrong way. Just give them the standard operating procedure, let them get in there, get their hands dirty, make it so they don't get uncomfortable by hitting too many zeros on a screen, start seeing that number climb, and they stop thinking of it as real money, and they just start thinking of it as real people, and just do good work. Because that's all it really is.
It's also, too, it's a big difference when you're spending someone else's money, and then you are spending your own money.
Oh,
that's
totally.
a big thing. And then also, too, what your current belief is of a lot of money is.
Yeah.
That's also a big one with, like, new-level media buyers.
Oh,
it's like,
absolutely.
You know, we were spending $100 a day. It's a lot of money. I'm like, no, not really.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what's the difference between $100 a day and $1,000 a day? The only difference is zero.
Yeah.
That is it. Nothing else changes.
Totally. I mean, I had heart palpitations trying to make it through the night when I was spending $1 million a day. Like that is uncomfortable. And I'm willing to say, like, I haven't been okay with spending that much. That is an uncomfortable amount of money. But like at some point, and it's interesting. I'm in this like little mastermind group that somebody invited me in, and it's just some like Discord channels.
Oh, is that what Christian? No, is it Christian? I know exactly what you're talking about because I got he's also in my inner circle, and he messaged me and said, hey, I got this little Discord group. Charlie's in there, a couple other guys are in there. You want to join? I was like, look, dude, I've never even used it in my life.
It's the only thing I have Discord on my phone for.
To be fair, I probably won't even open it. So
yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, so you know, I was in there and this guy Dennis posted this thing and he's like, he shows me the screenshot and it's just
I know Dennis.
It's the campaign section and all the stuff is blocked out and it's like 50 campaigns and he's like, I just got this ad account from so-and-so agency, cost cap bros of a agency that's losing numbers and trying to exit, so that's not working out, so they built a SaaS company, X, Y, and Z. Well, he's a man of God, so I won't talk shit about him, but like, people know who he is.
Yeah.
Point is,
I know exactly who you're talking about because I know Dennis.
Yeah.
And me and this particular client parted ways within the first 30 days because we were switching over from cost caps, like 50 cost cap campaigns, to broad targeting single campaigns.
Sure.
And all I would do was see this particular person just constantly revolving around marketing Twitter, talking in threads about cost caps, bid caps, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then he let us go end of the month. And then, Dennis took over the account.
Yeah.
And he's a really cool guy, though. Like, no hates. He's
Absolutely.
phenomenal brand and everything like that. But he's, like, super deep into the cost cap stuff.
Yeah. and you know, it's funny. I had it was interesting. I had a video that went live on YouTube a couple weeks ago. And it was like, when you're in LA long enough, you can kind of tell that, like, somebody was raised in Scientology. And it's like, when you're in Utah long enough, you know that somebody's, like, former LDS, right? And it's like, or when somebody was like had way too much garlic in their bagel this morning. Yeah. Like, you can hear it in people's voice when they're like secret, like cost cap, like bros.
Slowly eats in, and I know anytime like a client messaged me, hey Nick, what do you think about this? And like they're on Twitter like 3 a.m. and see a cost caps post, and I'm just like, oh god, I hate having to re-explain myself.
Yeah, and just like, I mean, I guess where I'm going with all that is just that I think it's also really interesting. It's a really interesting time because I feel like there are folks struggling to prove their value as performance marketers, that's why they're important. And I think we are getting to a place where it is becoming so much more valuable to run a good business. And it is becoming so easy to do the work. The barrier to entry to being good is so low now when it comes to the operational, just hitting the buttons. I think I made an analogy on Twitter today. It was something like, if you cook everything in the microwave, you're basically just eating at an Applebee's, right? And it's like, no shade to Applebee's, but like, it's not, fine dining. It's not Nobu. You know what I'm saying? And so my point with all of that is I think I'm very excited to have, as more and more marketers and more brands realize the difference between being a digital marketer, being a performance marketer, and understanding what growth looks like. Because, years, and I've been saying the same stuff for like 5 or 6 years, for what it's worth. People, many years, people call me crazy, and then they just start quoting what I have to say, and whatever, I'll take it.
I do, yeah, I completely understand what you mean by that, because I remember, like when I was kind of growing up in this particular space right there, I mean, I remember you, Broad, CBO, all that kind of stuff right there. And I noticed over 2023, almost everyone shifted over to broad targeting. Because you started talking about 2020, longer than that. You've been talking about it forever.
I think I started. I was a broad bro from about 2018, 2019. That was when I'm willing to accept. I was preaching the word of broad.
I discovered it in 2021. I discovered it from Chase Chappell.
Okay. Yeah.
So I discovered it from him because he would have like one campaign for interest, one campaign for lookalikes, one campaign for broad targeting, and he's like, I'll test these out, and depending on which one works better, we'll scale that into. And I actually had a product, a metal and Fenty sign, just crushed with broad targeting.
Love it.
So we started shifting over to that, and then when I discovered your content, it gave me more confidence to go all in on broad. Sure. It was like, okay, I'm starting to see this new thing we're testing, but I don't have the full confidence of why it works. And then your content helped like open my eyes, like, oh, okay, now I see why. So that's a big thing. Like your stuff gave me that confidence as a marketer.
Well, I'm glad,
at that time right there to kind of clarify, okay, because you didn't just say here go broad targeting. You also explain like why broad targeting, why it makes sense in that perspective right there. And also too like how like going all in on that one particular campaign, for example, works the best right there.
Yeah, so. And I'm really interested because I've seen your message change, and it's really been fun. I keep a pulse on things, and it's been like Ben Heath and Dara Denny and you have all kind of been evolving. And I've been
Dara or Dara?
I think it's Dara, but then again, like maybe I don't know. I could be wrong. I just claim ignorance at this point. I'm a white kid from the suburbs. I'm wrong about most about everything. But yeah, so
me and her have a video we're gonna be shooting soon too. So
nice.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing a collab soon too. She's an amazing marketer as well. For those listening to this, definitely recommend checking out. I said Dara, you said Dara. Dara, if you're watching the video, like drop a comment below of the exact way to say it.
Yeah, just
We need some clarification.
We do need some clarification, but she's amazing, and it's been great to see everybody's message change and evolve. And I think some folks have stuck their heels in, and I think other folks have evolved. And to be fair, I think I've evolved too. And it's been great to see the evolution of the thought leadership. And I very much appreciate how everybody has been moving towards stuff. And what I love about it too is like, I mean, hey, look, sometimes people agree with me, which makes me feel good. But also getting to see like how you all explain all of this stuff between like watching you explain broad targeting and like a one campaign structure or dynamic creatives. It's been interesting. I've been seeing the 3-2-2 stuff come up as the unicorn method. I don't know who started that, but
I haven't heard of that before.
Okay, now that came up in like the W6 community and some other stuff. And but it's just been really cool to see like, it's interesting. I mean, you're just a guy on YouTube. I'm just a guy on YouTube. Like we're in our rooms in front of the cameras and stuff, and to see like the real world benefiting and using our lingo and how we impact each other is just really fulfilling.
That's the cool thing about YouTube, and I didn't really look at it like this until like a little bit later down the road. But it's like in the beginning, like I did content just because I loved it. Sure. This is like my 5th YouTube channel. I've grown a gaming YouTube channel back when I was younger, a couple thousand subscribers. Like I was already knew like, hey, create content, get clients, and that's how I originally started my YouTube channel. But then like after about a year, 2 years in, start getting people like sending me messages like, bro, I scaled to 100K, 500K a month.
Oh, this is the best.
And I'm like, you've just been watching my free content.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. It's just like, what? But it creates that goodwill in there. Like, and there's a lot of like, lower tier countries that just unfortunately can't quite like afford some of our higher ticket products.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, your YouTube channel has literally like changed my life. And it's just like, it's so fulfilling. And I know you get the same as well.
Oh, I do. I mean, I just got something from a guy last night. This guy, Bunmi Solomon. Maybe I misspelled, maybe pronounced that, whatever. He's a Nigerian guy. And like, I don't think I'm the only reason of stuff, but like he's joined the MBA program, he's doing all sorts of stuff. There's this other guy out of Australia that like at the beginning of COVID was like a cab driver. And he hits me up randomly on Instagram one day. He's just like, I binged your YouTube channel in between rides, maybe an Uber driver or something, in between rides. And my agency just did 7 figures this year. I quit driving. And I'm like, bro, who are you? Like, teach me something. Like, I'm not doing 7 figures. Like, yeah. And I'm sure you get this. It's like the best feeling. And I think I don't know about you, and let me ask you this, because like what motivates me is I see so many people go from that point of like struggle and lack of confidence and like that lack of clarity. And they might have been led astray by some of the, I would consider lower integrity people out there. Yeah. And when they come back and they're just like, oh, instead of giving up on my business, now I'm looking at an exit. I'm hiring people. Like my life is this, that, and the other thing. Like, I don't know, but for me, that feeling is the why at this point, right? And so I guess the question to you is just like, I mean, how much of what you do is driven by that, and how much of it is like trying to get new stuff? Are you finding any delineation, or is it just kind of like you're doing this because that's who you are, and these wonderful things happen, and that's just more reinforcement?
I would say that's a big part of it right there. For me, like my whole YouTube channel, like it's just been a documentation of things as I learn it. So like I learn something new. I love that. I go apply it. Yeah. When I apply it, it gets X results, and then I go film a YouTube video around it. And I've been doing that since 2020. Like if you go watch like my older videos, like I was preaching like 10 different campaigns running at once. Yeah. But like at the time, that's what was working for me. Yeah. And then over the years, you'll see like my trainings and everything start to shift from like campaign structures and doing this to now like, all right, here's like different levels of market awareness. Here's how to create a new mechanism for like your ads and stuff like that. And it's all been just a reflection of, as I invest myself, I come up with new things. It gets X better results for my clients, students, etc. Now I want to show you how to do it. That's been watching the YouTube channel. It's more of just a way to give back and put goodwill into the community. Yeah. I mean, obviously at the end of the day, I still get clients, I get students from it as well. Sure. And it provides like a couple different areas of fulfillment, right? Yeah. Because like I love YouTube and everything, and I could do it for free. I mean, I did it for free for a couple years before I started closing clients and stuff like that. Yeah. So you get the money aspect from it, but you also get that fulfillment of just putting goodwill in the space. You helping and changing lives. You're creating a positive impact. Yeah. So it's not just like, oh, I'm learning all this, I'm being selfish with it. It's like, no, I'm literally giving it to people. I have people all the time like, Nick, create a course or something like that. I'm like, just watch my YouTube videos. I'm going to show you step by step everything. And you're like, no, Nick, your course will show me more. I'm like, no, not at all. Like, I literally show you step by step in the videos, everything you need to do.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love what you're saying is just like, it's a documentation of what I heard, let me put it that way, is it's a documentary record of your evolution and your growth as a marketer and ultimately as a business operator and somebody, and in sharing that, one of the great rewards of that is the positive impact you're having on the livelihood of other people and their families and their quality of life.
Yeah, when you start thinking about things like that, I remember my first ever e-com client, Gritty Soul. We helped them scale their business from 30K a month to 300K a month.
Huge.
And at the time, you see, and this is also like a great example of like what I don't know at the time. Sure. Because at that time, the only thing we changed was their ad account structure. That was it. And it took them literally from 30K a month to 300K a month. Like they had like 50 campaigns, all this crazy stuff going on. Then I was like, all right, cool. Let's introduce a creative testing campaign, audience testing campaign. Like there's still a lot of shit.
All of the things, yeah.
But at the time, it's what I knew. It's at the time, it's what worked. So that's why I started preaching, hey, here's a particular activity we took, it's action. But going back to your thing, it's like, yeah, when we scaled them, it's like they had to hire more warehouse workers, they had to hire more like all these people in operations. And it's like, you don't really think about it. You just see numbers on the screen, but it's like, they have to hire 50 new warehouse workers. Yeah. It's like, that's 50 more people that can put food on their family's plate tonight.
Exactly, man.
That's insane. You start thinking about it like that.
Yeah, like that for me, like that's the thing that's the thing for me now at this point. And like I think I get a reputation for picking fights on the internet, which may or may not be true.
That's something I've seen in your messaging. I feel like you've changed the way in the way you're promoting your stuff now.
I've been trying.
I remember, 2022 Charley Twitter. You were like on every single post. I'm running lookalikes. Here's the result, and you'd be like, all right, cool. What about Broad? And
yeah. Although one of the things I'm going to be doing, to check out that guy Brett Coleman's YouTube channel.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
And he's just a football guy. His intros are fucking gorgeous. Maybe you can help me out with this. I'm gonna show you this guy's video. Help me rip off his intro with B-roll from here. I'll say this and then we can get into. I tweeted this out. I think us YouTubers in the D2C space, it's a bunch of assholes sitting at a desk talking at the camera. And I'm like, this shit is fucking boring. We got to do it. We got to do different. So I sent you this guy's thing. His thumbnails are different. His layout is different. What he does is Brett Coleman as football. Fucking nothing to do with what we're doing. I'm just like, dude, it's so fucking brilliant. I'm trying to throw curveballs at shit.
So now, is he doing like football and talking about marketing? Or
no marketing at all.
Football, everything about football, that's it?
Yeah, nothing to do with marketing at all. It's just NFL nerddom. But his videos are fucking gorgeous. And his intros, like his intro, he was at like some mansion in Arizona or New Mexico or some shit. And his video, like he's never at a desk. He's like walking around the fucking desert and shit. It's just, you check it out, you'll be like, okay, I gotcha. I'm just going to try to have different shit. So like I was filming up, coming through the fucking windy roads and bits and shit. Trying to just get all this B-roll just so that my videos, there can be as little of me behind the desk actually as part of the camera, a part of the shot. And I'm going to start like shooting so they can't even go to B-roll. Anyway, you were saying the difference.
You shifted a little bit of the way you promote it yourself.
Yeah.
Also, I know your Twitter, you've been kind of, a little bit more cooler on Twitter in terms of like,
trying.
Like, hey, let me attack everyone that's talking about like lookalikes and stuff like that. So more just like, here's what I'm doing, here's what's working. Yeah. Here's some success stories for my students. I know you've kind of had a shift in your kind of like personal branding as well.
I will. I'd like to take as much credit for that as I can, but I legitimately have to point to the folks that have held me accountable and done good things for me in that space and have helped me out a lot directly. One, my assistant Jake, who I gave carte blanche to, he could delete my tweets. And he would call me at 1 o'clock in the morning, like, dude, you're an asshole. You have to apologize to that person. And I'd be like, all right, here's my apology. Like, fuck you. That's not an apology. That's just you telling somebody sorry if like they got upset at you being right and they were wrong. And I was like, okay, fine. But also Nick Shackelford and Robbo Rayhill helping me out and being a better person with some of that stuff. And full disclosure, like I'm a little spectrum. I'm a lot of things. And I don't see the way that I communicate with others and the way that they see it. And going to more events and being seen by more people and getting that feedback from folks was really helpful. And I don't remember if it was Rabba or Nick who said this to me. And I want to make sure that they're both in my D2C Dynasty chat, which is D2C Dynasty, going to take over the world sooner than later. Shout out to the homies. One of them said something to me, and what I heard was, there are so many people who won't hear your message because of the way you communicate. And I see that, it was this thing, I've been going at it with this guy, Nabil, about his cost cap stuff. And I'm just like, bro, let's get on camera. And Jordan West was like, dude, I'll proctor the thing. I'm like, awesome, Jordan, let's do it. And to be fair, I'm getting on with Taylor. We're going to do something for the first time in forever. It'll be great. And Jordan's going to do it, and we're going to have a very clear, delineated conversation. But the point was that I was alienating people because of my language. And because of the way that I was speaking, they couldn't hear what I had to say. And when that crossed paths with my realization of just how dramatic the impact that folks like us have on others, not trying to prop myself up. I think people have there can be a toll booth worker that's just super nice and makes somebody's day every single day. Somebody's going to just steer left into traffic, doesn't do it because somebody said hello to him in a nice way. Like everybody in the world has the opportunity to make the world and the lives of the people that they interact with a little bit better. Yeah. And I do think that is sort of, a responsibility of us as humans if we can give a bit more than we take. But I realize that, especially in a space where what we do is help people chase their dreams and to accomplish the things that they care about and to provide for their families. I've had to change the way that I approach communication, because I think, very honestly, early on, I didn't think anybody respected what I had to say. I think I was insecure about my communication, and I looked at people like, I had 2,000 YouTube followers, you had like 20. Like, who the hell's gonna listen to me, right? Or whatever it is, so-and-so's got 50,000 Twitter followers, or they've got 2,000 and I have 500. I was comparing my outsides, I was comparing my insides to the outsides of other people's presentation, and I think that, and to be fair, I got a reputation for it, and I was able to back it up in a lot of situations, and a lot of people loved what I had to say because I was calling people out directly.
And also, too, like, in like, long story short, like, it worked for you.
It did, and that was
carried you for years.
It did, and that was the hard part to let go of. Just like, what do you mean I have to? But it was like, I could be a big fish in a small pond, but eventually I had to do more than that. And just like we're talking about the growth in media buying tactics, there's a growth in, I'm 40. I turned 40 like 2 weeks ago. And my communication with others and the impact I have on the people that I meet in the world is something that I can make the active choice to improve. And as a result, I've tried to absolutely be more approachable and more enthusiastic and more open to feedback. And I appreciate that you see a less aggressive version of Charlie, where 2021, 22, it was like Guru Buster calling people out by name, just like, this person's a scam artist, they don't know what the hell they're talking about, here's my work, X, Y, and Z. And I've caught myself a little bit that with the cost cap bros, because they're like, I wrote this book in 2018 that was used like with the alpha of cost caps, and just like, their entire business model is like 4 pages of this ebook I gave away like 5-6 years ago, but out of context and done with low integrity and just like trying to pound it in. But anyway, I do appreciate that, and I want to give credit to where it's due with the positive feedback of folks that I think were willing to see the little nugget of a nice person inside of all of these barbs of an insecure individual that was learning that maybe people did respect what I had to say and valued it, and that was a tough space.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot to be able to like, all right, hey, yes, this worked for a certain point, but now it's like we need to rebuild how we structure. There's a lot of times in your business where like, hey, I'm gonna do this thing, it's gonna get me to here, but if you want to go to here though, who do you have to become? And sometimes that is a way of how you present yourself and push yourself out in the market. We see a lot of gurus that start off selling courses, flexing Lambos and all that good stuff. Then after they do that for a little while, they're like, all right, then it's like, how do I go to that next level? It's like they have to completely reinvent themselves as a completely different person, as, people don't respect that type of marketing for a while.
Yeah, and no, totally. They won't. And I think it's uncomfortable to change.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's not fun. It also takes a lot. It takes a lot to be that person of like, hey, I was wrong.
Yeah.
And maybe not wrong, but like, it's, hey, something gotta change. And some people really face that reality. They just push it off as, oh, that's other people's problems. Yeah. Other people just, they don't understand. They just won't wake up in that way. They're just hating and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you can see through that, and that's kind of how I looked at you. Like, I saw through your marketing everything to where I could actually receive the message.
Well, I do appreciate that.
Right
yeah.
there. I was like, all right.
I will say, for what it's worth, your endorsement of me went a long way. There's a lot of people that were like, I heard about Charlie from Nick. And like, if you and I hadn't had that, a couple of times on camera, this and that, like, I think I would not be nearly where I'm at today. So
you're welcome, man.
For that, every little bit of a thank you, because my daughter's life is better because of all the little things that happen on YouTube, which is so dumb, but also like a beautiful thing. So my family's quality of life is in a better place because of those actions, and very directly because of some of the endorsement from people like you, and I really do appreciate that.
It's amazing here.
For what it's worth, thank you. I do want to say that, and it's also great to see you grow, and I think it's a beautiful thing for all of us to not be stuck where we were at. I think there's a digital version of like never leaving your hometown. And I feel like we've gone off to college, we've gone to the big city, we're making our own lives. And there's some of the folks that are still scored 4 touchdowns in one game and are working at the gas station.
And it's funny because it's like the growth, you see the same growth in everything you do, whether it's YouTube, even ad accounts and stuff like that. It's like in the beginning, you're just replicating everything else everyone's doing.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing you're doing in the beginning. But as you start to build a habit, as you start to get the ideas to come through of like, oh, I'm going to film the same video on how to scale Facebook ads, so I'm going to add this little twist to it.
Yeah.
Then that's like the stage 2 in a way. You know,
Yeah.
we see it in ad accounts all the time. I'm just going to replicate all the big brands, Facebook ads. That's going to get me to here. Then you start introducing your own ideas, and it gets you a little bit more. Then that stage 3 is where you actually develop your own identity. And obviously, you know, like you said, you leave your college town, you move to a new town, and you develop your own self with your own like beliefs and everything, and don't have other people kind of like reflecting onto you with that.
Yeah, you get your own fingerprint on what's going on. Yeah.
And that goes back to like what you know you mentioned earlier, how like you started saying like broad targeting years ago and everything like that, and then like 2023, I think it was a big year of people starting to all get on broad targeting. And stuff like that. And you know, I try not to be known as a media buyer. I try to stay away from that. Like I still talk about like, you know, broad targeting. Here's how we run our creatives and testing and all that right now. But like I'm trying to shift more into that. How do I become a great marketer, direct response marketer? That's what I can talk about all day. It's like the different types of hooks, the different types of markets we can open. How can we position ourselves differently in the marketplace? That's what I love. That's my unique message.
Yeah, and that's totally your evolution of somebody that's like, this used to be the most challenging thing. I've now taken what was challenging or something that was the great barrier and has become easy. And you're going after the next great challenge, and the next thing that was unattainable is now just another step away. And like that growth is something that we all do, you know? And I think it's interesting. I'm also really trying to do that. Like most of my content, like I'm trying to make a point of all my content this year. If I can help it, I will not shoot a video of how to run Facebook ads this year. That's my focus. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but also one of the benefits of my message basically not having really changed is I just replay all the old stuff. Like on Tuesdays, I drop new videos. On Thursdays, what I did is I went back and grabbed all my videos from 2 years ago that are still relevant, where I was just yelling at a camera for 30 minutes. And my editor is chopping those up because I had the presence of mind then to do them in 3 10-minute segments as just like a radio and DJ. I used to use segments as chapters. Well, now each one of those chapters is its own video. So Thursdays videos are all just replays of 2 years ago stuff that's like been cherry picked to be the most relevant, but completely edited as new. And then Saturdays I take all my 2023 bangers and just replay them. And now I'm getting 3 videos a week where I only have to shoot once.
That's pretty good.
And and it's working. It's working. And then I just take everything I've got with all the interviews and everything else, and I'm throwing that into my Disruptor School channel, which I'm trying to build up. It's now past 1,000 subs, and it's just I think it's a very interesting bit of like the evolution of how we're trying to talk. And I think it's one of those uncomfortable things. Like, you know, 2 weeks ago I was like, what am I going to talk about if it's not going to be the ad account?
Yeah, and you're also going to appeal to different people.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So like, you know, like for me, it's like there's certain videos I'll do. It'll get a lot of views, but it doesn't really do anything from like landing some more clients or more students into like my programs and stuff. And there'll be videos that get like 600 views, and I'll close like, you know, fairly large deals from it because I'm talking to a different type of buyer. You know, like I think I have like 4 or 5 beginner videos on my YouTube channel.
Sure.
And they'll get like loads of views.
Oh yeah, I see it.
If I make a video on like breaking down an ad that spent $200,000, I get very little views because one, people's beliefs are like, what? An ad spending $200,000? I can't even comprehend that.
Of course.
But spending millions a year, they're like, oh yes, that's exactly what I want.
Exactly.
Watch. And that's a much smaller demographic from there.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because like I'm actually curious. Do you have an idea of like the content you're going to try to make this year? Like, do you have any general direction?
I do. I'm focusing more on the marketing, direct response marketing.
Okay.
Because that's my long-term play.
Right.
That's what I love. That's like my passion area. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like I want to go deeper into that this year, and that's also where it's like we're looking at the evolution of the community, right? 2023, everyone starts shifting to broad targeting and stuff. We start to see more people start to talk about creatives, but it's like a lot of people are talking about creatives even in 2022, but they weren't talking about the actual nitty gritty of what goes into a creative.
Sure. Yeah.
And now, you know, kind of going back to like what you were saying earlier, like I spoke about broad targeting years ago. I'm starting to see more people now talking about what I talked about in the beginning of 2023 about like looking at Eugene Schwartz with the desire, awareness, market sophistication. I'm starting to see so many more people now on my Twitter doing like the same stuff now.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Of what allowed me to kind of grow. So now it's like, okay, so what I'm trying to do is, okay, how do we go deeper into that? And obviously, like a big thing is like, you know, finding winning ads for accounts and stuff.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, so if a lot of people are starting to talk about Facebook ad creatives, here's how to create Facebook ads, creatives that convert, and all of the brands know that we have to test a certain number to find a winner. The person who can have the highest hit rate at scale is going to get paid the most.
Sure.
So, you know, I look at it like a Super Bowl ad, for example.
Love
you get one shot to create that ad.
Yeah.
So why are you testing 50 ads a week when the quality's so low on them because you're not really putting much effort into any one of them.
Of course.
Right?
And your feedback on it is so low because you're splitting it 50 ways.
There you go. There you go.
Which I mean, I won't rob your soapbox here, but I totally agree.
So it's more of like, okay, everyone knows about Facebook ad creatives to convert now. Now it's like, how can we do that better? And what are the specific types of messaging and stuff that we need to talk about this year? And it's more so just it's taking it to that next level as the market evolves.
No, I love that,
man.
Focus
for this year.
I love that, and it's interesting. Like you're talking about seeing so many. I find that like the generations of media buyers. I feel like we're in like maybe the third generation of media buyers since COVID hit.
Yeah.
You know, like it's so weird. Like just seeing. I feel I don't know. It's just there's something to the internet. There's something to the access. There's something to it where like you're saying what you were talking about in the beginning of 2023, just a year ago. There's now multiple groups of individuals who've matured to the point where they are now at where you were, and you've got the roadmap for them, and you can kind of be 2 steps ahead of them, even though that was 12 months ago. And having that, like, and that's one thing I love about what you're talking about and what your content and how you're telling this is your documentation of the process. And it is one of my regrets is that I never got into the content creation side to do that documentation when I was going through all of the things. Because I didn't get to starting a YouTube channel till I was almost 10 years into the business. I lost count in 2018 and I was like over 500 million in spend. Like, I have no idea what it is these days. But like some of those things, there's so many nuggets and value points that are lost. And I regret not being able to capture that. But now I feel like the journey for my hope is for folks that I really found what I'm passionate about is that brand growth, is that the independence and that developing a value in. So like that's where I'm trying to, oddly enough, make this year so much more of that autobiographical thing. I think my first video this year was like, this is my personal PML. This is my tax paperwork from this year. Here's like quarter to quarter. Here's how much money I made and how I did it. And then like pictures and contact information for every person on my team. That video, I think, got 800 views. And then I did another video on like my cost cap best practices for beginners. And it got like, thousands on day one. So of course, to your point, like the market, the size and everything.
For those 800 people, like I always like to look at it from this perspective, right? It's like I made this video that's only going to appeal to a certain group of people. And you can go on websites that have like audience size simulators. So like it'll show you like here's what one person looks like. But here's what 200 people look like in a stadium, a football stadium. Here's what 10,000 people look like in a football stadium. Like, holy shit. So it's like 800 people. Like, when you actually visualize what that looks like, and then you think about it, hey, I created a piece of content that only appeals to that specific type of audience.
I like that.
800 people that just saw basically a sales pitch in a way.
Yeah.
Like we still provided a lot of valuable content. But also, too, at the end of the day, we still have some objectives of converting people into our programs.
I still want my numbers to look better. I get hurt when it's a 7 out of 10, and I'm like, man, I spent a week on that.
Dude, those 7 out of 10s are worse. And it's always the content, like, I planned really well. I'm like, 9 out of 10. And, like, the random video I shot of just, like, I'll toss that up. It was like,
always a banger.
1 out of 10.
Always.
Like, really?
Oh, God. Oh, man. Yeah, it's funny. I shot a video today, and it is on gift cards versus discounts and bundles. And like I got tripped up and I literally had to just walk away. And like I made dinner, played a little Grand Theft Auto, came back. Saw that Justin Fields went to the Steelers, totally different mindset. Sat down, knocked out the script and came over here. And like I'll bet you that video, because I thought about it for a week and put in so much effort, it's going to get like 300 views. And then like another video where I was like, here are the 4 books that like I read. I think everybody talks about reading like 1,000 books and like, a new book a week, all this stuff. Like I can't comprehend books. I need to read this book like if you give me 4 books, I'll read each of them 13 times in a year and I'll remember most of it. Here are the 4 books that help me be a millionaire. Like that thing's going to probably get thousands and thousands. And it was just like off the cuff, sat down, turned your camera on and we just went. Zero planning went into that one.
Yeah.
That's funny
I don't know about you, but like, yeah, for me, there's times where like no planning at all. I just sit down, record, boom.
Yeah.
And then like I know over like the next week and a half, I have a 4-part series coming up that I guess you could say some planning. I pulled a couple of my SOPs and stuff like that and launched them. So there was a lot more planning into that. And I'm like, all right, I don't really expect this series to blow up because it's talking to that very sophisticated buyer.
Sure.
Which is not going to be how to run Facebook ads in 2024. It's going to be like, here's some advanced marketing principles you can apply to improve your Facebook ads. Which is only going to reach like a smaller segment. So I have to mentally frame myself ready for that series.
Yeah, just these are going to be 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
These are going to be 8 out of 10s. Gotcha. I have one other question for you, just on a YouTube side of things. And we're talking about this stuff. Like, I'll preface this by giving away my answer in scripting. And this is just purely like YouTuber stuff.
Yeah.
I used to sit down with an idea and then ramble incoherently for 30 minutes. And apparently, like, this one guy quit being a taxi driver because his agency got 7 figures on it. It was off to him. I was just going off with, like, I can do it. So now what I'm doing is I'm opening up ChatGPT on my phone and rambling incoherently for like 20, 30 minutes. And then I tell it to put it into like a 3-act play or whatever into like this structure.
Nice.
And that's how I'm trying to do scripting right now. I'm curious, do you put any thought into it at all? Or are you just more off the cuff? Like
more off the cuff. And I have a normal structure I follow. It's just, here's the result we achieved. Here's the process we followed. Like and subscribe.
Love it.
And I just keep it straight to simple as that. And my objective is, okay, if it's something that's very complex and hard to understand, my skill where I call my unique skill is to take that, how can I make it so simple anyone can understand?
I love that.
So for me, when I broke down broad targeting, I had my own unique kind of interpretation of how it works. And I was like, okay, how can I make this easy for people to understand? So I have to create a couple of different visuals through a slideshow. I use Google Slides probably for almost every video now. And it allows me sometimes to create a few key text points right there or a few different visuals and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah, I've never really had a script. And that's just how my process I've been following for the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, I'm always curious because I know some folks write out each word. And then I know that the videos that when my channel got discovered and where people I think found me, I quite literally would write 3 bullet points on a sticky note, tap it to my screen, hit record, and then yell at the camera for 30 minutes. And every 2-minute intro and then 10-minute, 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 talk up to the break, like and subscribe every 10 minutes, and then outro. And that was it. And I've been trying to find this delicate balance between, and I think it's, this is my first channel that's ever blown up, that's ever seen any impact. And so for folks like you where this is the 5th channel, right? I didn't have a gaming channel beforehand. I think it's always fun to see sort of the arts and the crafts of it all because your thumbnails are well thought out and your process is there and there's a storytelling structure that I feel like is, when I'm watching your video, I can expect the story to go in the same way. And I don't know if it's a benefit or a liability that mine are completely scattered. I don't know if it makes it more interesting or... Yeah.
It's more so, it's for me, it's I understand when you're in a position of, all right, I'm confused of how to run this particular thing. It's I don't want to have to sit here and hear about other stuff. I just want an actionable thing I can employ as fast as possible. Yeah. It's if I can't figure out something playing Grand Theft Auto, for example, and I can't beat a certain level. I don't want to sit down and listen to a full backstory and how the game was created before they go into how to do the cheat code. It's just show me the cheat code and boom. Show me how the cheat code works and then boom. That way it's just as quickly as possible. And then it's if you want more information, boom. And then another thing that I recently did over 2023 was that if I keep getting a common comment, then I'll start making videos around that. So that way it's all right, today we're going to run this particular new Facebook ad creative and stuff like that. If you're curious of how we test our creatives, watch this video. So I'll just link them to different videos so that way I don't have to dive into that. So I can still keep it to that one straightforward topic.
I like that. Yeah, for me in 2023 it was I would wake up with no real plan, and whatever argument I got in on Twitter on the day that I was filming was the video that I made.
Oh, I've done that a lot, where it's like, not necessarily an argument on Twitter, but
yeah,
like,
that's my brand. Yeah.
I know I had a client message me like 50 times why we're not running retargeting. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go create the most badass video on why we're not running retargeting. And I'm going to make it full of like facts and like as much data sources as I can. So that way, anytime he messages me again, I'm just going to drop him that video right there.
Love it.
Never got the comment again.
Love that. That's fun. I like that as a response, man. I like the idea of pre-recording your answers to the most commonly asked questions.
Yep.
So when you get asked, you can be like, here's the video. Are you good? I like that. I like that. It saves me a lot of...
Yeah, I can answer the question for you right now, but I have a much more thought, well put together video for you that you can watch right now. That's how I always look at it.
I like it. That seems well thought out. I appreciate it. Well, dude, I got to go pick up my wife, I think, here in a second. And I just want to say thank you for inviting me to this lovely spot you've got out here. And oh, look, the lights came on in the pool out there.
Oh, dude, it looks so good out there.
This is bougie, and I dig it. You look great. I feel like you've been at the gym, too. Your shoulders are popping in this shirt.
Thank you.
You're looking good, man. You're looking good. And I appreciate getting to meet you in the real world and getting to shoot some shit with you, buddy.
You're welcome, man.
I thank you for your endorsement and your time. And yeah, man, I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Same to you. I really like being able to actually meet you in a setting like this versus like, I don't know, if we were at some conference, it's like, I got like a 5-minute real quick chat with Charlie. Yeah. And then, maybe either one of us didn't have enough sleep the night before. So I was like, I got the wrong impression.
Oh,
it's like, this is like a perfect just sit down, chill.
Yeah.
I could have thought of a better way like for us to finally be able to meet. And I know like the viewers are going to love it.
I hope so.
Pretty much everyone that watches my channel, they also watch your stuff.
I think so. Yeah. So according to mine, you're the most commonly watched channel of viewers of my channel. You're always like number 1 or number 2 on there.
Yeah. You, Ben, and Chase, and Dara, like those are like that's
my list. Yeah. Chase is at the end of my list, and then it's Ben, and then you and Dara are back and forth. And I think that's funny. That is the exact analytics that I have. For whatever it's worth, there's an audience. That's a good panel. Anybody running a conference, please come to LA so my wife will let me leave the house long enough with the baby to sit on a panel and just ask questions of people.
That'd be a cool one. So.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Thank you for coming on. As y'all know, y'all already know Charlie from most of y'all, but definitely check out his channel. You want to plug into your socials real quick?
Just CT the Disruptor. Check it out. Check out Disruptor School. If you can't find it, that means you shouldn't trust me as a marketer.